last time on the Empire's Edge.
Since Zelen teleports herself with Dimension Door, she's the one actually infiltrating. Teleports in, grabs it, teleports out.
Oh, by herself.
It pours this stuff out onto its hands and then starts spreading it on Zelen.
Zelen, it's time to go!
They're holding that moment because you don't make sense.
We're each alone right now.
And that was enough.
I choose to knock him out.
You meet somewhere in the middle, and you've been successful. That you do have the carapace. And with that, the three of you level up. So you guys get into the central chamber of one of the smaller towers. It's just adjacent to, peripheral to the main council chamber tower. And I'm sure you're like relieved seeing each other in there, and there are Inuriac moving about. But the whole
I'd probably
place,
be a little surprised to see another,
Right, because I'm dressed as is anybody reacting to me? Because do I still smell like the enemy?
yeah,
Did that wear off? Because the other person like applied it and then just got out of dodge.
no, actually, it wouldn't have run out by now. It's really been a pretty short period of time since all
been
that
a
happened.
very short period of time.
So that, there is an awful lot of chaos right around this space, and it's probably that there are known Inuriac, like you would imagine somewhere in here, Shatask with Boris just came in, and Isk and Thovid, and there's like some kind of like wild chatter in their heads that to back off, there's like a need to know basis only, and they're moving everything out of this area.
I would think so, because they're probably going to want to eat me.
And within a moment, it's totally clear. But yeah, from your perspective, Boris, it does look like there's another one of you. Like you walked in and saw a
So
mirror.
that's what I look like this.
Am I handsome or aren't I? And then you guys are brought right forward from that chamber into the next one. And for the very first time, you note that not Iskin, Isk and Thovid always stay with you, but Shatask stays with you and is proceeding forward into that main council chamber.
That is interesting.
I wonder if Shatask's been promoted, like we've leveled up.
Yeah, I wonder.
Is this the first time that we've seen Shatask has not been in here?
She's never been in here before.
Always been held.
And I think she even told us she'd never been in this room.
That's right.
Ever. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Nice.
So there's a bit
Character
of hesitation,
development.
and there are the guards that are just inside that door. It might not be the same ones, Jacob, but it does seem like it's the same total in that an annex room. The ones that are playing with your bow, there's a lot of guards there, and they just snap to in a moment because this whole place smells wrong right now.
Right.
It's like a danger zone. And again, it's totally blanked out, but you can really just predict without rolling anything that they've just been recommunicated, and they all back down. So there's this moment of they all just snap to, and then an instant later, they just relax again. And then you're directed to proceed forward by what must be another of their sage-level sisters. And that sage moves in with you, and Shatask stays with you as you all go into that.
And Isk and Thovid stay with us too?
Yes, they've been in here with you guys before.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird how that works. But they've been there before, and they do stay right with you in there. And so you walk into the chamber still with your illusions and whatnot going, and you can see it's probably the same one. I won't name all of them, Novak and Imyan and all those different council members. But you can see even they seemed highly disturbed. And it might be just the scent of you that's in this place, that they're probably working on containing themselves. Actually, go ahead and roll those as insights.
Oh, yeah. Crap. Nope, off the table. Oh. Dice aren't important. You don't need dice for a D&D podcast. I'm looking, and it's not good.
Uh-oh.
How about a 8? How's an 8? You like an 8?
Well, I will make a mental note of that.
I have a 12.
So also kind of in the same place. And Boris, what does he roll?
You rolled a number.
Reach for the D12.
It would be a 15.
Oh, all right.
Yet, Boris, you notice something in the subtleties of the movement of one of them, and not with it, you wouldn't know the name of that one, unless you made an intelligence roll to bring it back. But you think that one was about to go into
An 18.
Tannic. And it was the one almost directly across from where you guys entered into this room. You believe it was about to go into spellcasting. And so that even one of the councilmen was nearly triggered and tripped into an attack mode. Because part of your illusion is also, Zelen, is also the coloration of one of their kind. So
Did they forget the plan?
no,
They never knew the plan.
but
I think that
Well, we asked the council for
drones have a very limited amount of intelligence, but they've all got a very strong, like, biological programming.
Because I could have sworn we asked
I
the
note
council
that for later
directly.
nefarious use if necessary.
I thought we asked the council directly for the scent thing.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but maybe they didn't know if we got it. I don't know.
Holy crap, they did it! Like that's like they're making that realization now.
Yeah.
So-
and if you saw a guy in, like on horseback and, dressed as like a Polish hussar from the 1300s, even if you knew, it's like, oh yeah, Paul, who does his own weird LARPing stuff, is going to be in
You
costume.
better watch out.
You'd go,
You better watch out.
and then watch out. Now, when it comes to that person that smeared the stuff all over all of you, Jacob, roll that as though it's a survival skill, like you're tracking, like you're keeping, very aware.
Can you let me know what that was? I think it landed by you.
It was a 4.
Oh, it's a 4.
16. I've got whatever the better than proficiency is. Expertise in
You're
that.
very aware that by the various kind of like ribbons and like sashes they wear on themselves, that the one that smeared the stuff on Zelen is not here, is not a member of who's here.
Oh.
So it's a case, too, of it isn't like they're even acknowledging that person's there. If you want to inquire after...
I think we found the Anuriak version of the Steel Cloud.
Where's Philip?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it might be a
I think
different
that's
direction.
what I was communicating with when I healed that shock troop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a weird clicking coming from the whole council, and they're all coming down off their little dais platforms that they sit on. So they're all now, for the first time around you guys, they're at floor level, and they come together in a group and are slowly surrounding Zelen, because they're.
Can they sense that I have it on? Because I haven't dropped my illusion yet.
Well,
they can see that I don't have it, and they can see that Boris doesn't have it.
And you don't look like Zelen
And
at
they don't
this
know who
moment.
you
are.
So
Right.
you tell me when you drop that, but they're making an assumption that it is somewhere in proximity to you.
She rips it off. Surprise!
Yeah, okay, so I will drop the illusion, but I still have the thing on because I can't take it off that quickly.
So yes, and when this is actually removed, all of them go down on all sixes, as though they are bowing to the very thing itself. That they're all that much in awe of what is here and present right now.
That was not a turn of phrase that I expected.
Keep
All
it
sixes.
on.
It makes perfect sense when I hear it, but at first I was like, all sixes.
And,
So
and that includes Shatask and Thovit and the other guards that are in here right now.
Does it feel like we should be doing the same?
Where would you like this
I'm not a bug.
placed?
They don't even respond to you, like mentally or with any kind of clicks or anything. But they are now completely around you. So Boris and Jacob, you haven't been pushed out of the way, but they've gone between you. So you're in and among their command structure, and all of them have their at least 2 appendages on the carapace itself, and then they work on removing it from you.
Okay.
And when you do that, you realize you have to duck under some of their arms to kind of get by.
Yeah.
That is, the whole group is moving like in a sideways group, all of them holding this thing. They would just walk right over you. And so you're kind of like, ducking, moving till it's past you until you're free of that. And that kind of the echo in your own heads is almost like, it's like finally a return, the greatness, all these things are happening. And then one voice comes louder than all the rest, and that one is saying that you must silence yourselves. We must contain this. And there is a fight just to recontrol their own mental state to work this thing, to put the clamps on this thing mentally. And then once that is under control, Imyan in your head says, "Thank you." And they say battle tallies, honor tallies will be recorded in your carapaces later, but not at this point. And then a sage, not a member of the council, is approaching each of you and hands each one of you what is obviously a container of coins. And it's pressed, one of these containers is pressed into each one of your hands. Or not each one of your hands, each one of you. They're kind of used to having
Now I wish I had
multiple
all sixes. I get 4 pouches of coins.
right.
You carry money with your feet?
I said I get 4 pouches of coins. I'm using 2 of them. Wait, how much is cursory glance, or would it be? Do we feel it'd be rude to count the coin right now?
Definitely be rude.
Yeah, it'd be very, very rude. Yes, but You'll find out in a little while.
You're from hell.
But also, they're all about efficiency and numbers. I feel like it would almost be expected that they would want us to make sure that it was all correct.
Well, then go ahead and do it.
I'm not going to do it, though.
I'd like to remove the scent of your enemies from me before I leave this space. Is there someone that can help me do that?
And almost casually, and again, their emotions have been so, if they have emotions, played so close to their chests, that to their carapaces.
I think we've established that they do have emotions.
But they do have them, right? And it's almost laughingly that it's like one of them says, yes, as soon as you go out, you'd be killed almost instantly. And they're treating it like, as they are not even caring, just ignoring you. And they keep shuffling sideways until they're in a door, and they all manage to keep their appendages on it. And they've completely left this chamber and left all of you.
Thanks for the help.
You're standing there without them. And it's... Shatask says, we will escort you back to your own quarters. There is no known way to simply remove it. It must wear off.
Do I still have the ability to blink, or is that worn off? You know, where I can just...
One,
Yeah, there's a
blink
spell
is
you
a
cast.
spell. Two, Dimension
Oh.
Door is a different spell.
Oh.
Dimension Door is a one-off. You do not have that ability unless you cast Dimension Door again.
Oh.
No, if you meant just your eyes, yes, you may blink as many times.
If you lost
want.
that ability, we have other concerns.
Because what I was thinking is I'll just dimension door myself to our house so that I don't have to go through the crowd.
Yeah, I feel like we have enough
Less
people
house, more
working with us.
apartment.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
They're offering to give us a...
And Shatask says, I will clear the way before us now. We did not know by which ways you would enter. We should have had the main halls cleared. We're not used to this sort of thing.
Okay, then I guess that's okay.
All right.
And so within minutes, you're back to your own, Elicid's rooms, your rooms. And
Now
you're-
I count the coin.
100.
Oh, nice.
100 iron coins, which I find hysterical because down here you could buy a lot of stuff. Each coin has a tremendous buying power. But presuming someday you get out of here, on the surface, they're pretty worthless.
Yeah.
So make sure we spend it while
They'd
we're
be
here.
a curiosity. Yeah. What can I buy here that could trade up, that would be worth a lot more on the surface again? And if you guys retell your various parts of it to each other, but before we do that, let's go into what would be tantamount to you guys sharing with, I've got new stuff I can do. And that would be...
On the walk back, I learned that I can do such and such a
Yeah,
thing.
really. So with your leveling up, Zell, let's start with you. What's new with your character?
She loves going first.
I can't be charmed by fae or undead
Elementals.
elementals.
You can't be charmed or frightened by fae or elementals.
And I can't be diseased or poisoned.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, so finally the two of us can safely eat. Good luck, bud.
I've got a pretty good constitution.
Do you, though?
And I got, I think I got another. I got another cantrip
Okay.
And
Nice.
another 5th level spell slot.
and another 5th level spell slot.
Okay, yeah. So you'll have a chance to. It's like, what else would she say, Boris?
I know all of these things.
Another, I think, 9 hit
Yeah, you
points?
guys will get a long rest pretty soon. So, Jacob.
You got 9. I only got 8 more hit points. I rolled a 5 on my D8. I took another level in Rogue.
Mhm. This is your third level in Rogue,
My
right?
third level in Rogue now. So with that, I get my sneak attack damage goes up to 2d6.
Nice.
And I took the roguish archetype of Scout, which means that I'm just even more better at running away from things. So now
It's a skill.
yeah, now whenever you try your best to throw me into melee combat, which I really don't want to be there, I can get out of it. So that's the I think it's just if an enemy ends its turn within 5 feet of me, it allows me to run away. And stacking that with all the other things that I can do now as a rogue and a ranger, it makes me significantly well built to run away.
Well, it sounds like you're the most stealthy thing anywhere on the planet right now.
Seems like it. Sounded like it. And the other thing is a survivalist, but this didn't matter because at third level with this roguish archetype, I get proficiency in nature and survival, which I am already both proficient and
Yeah, right.
expert in one of them.
Really good at it. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That's it for rogue.
Okay.
And, yeah.
Very cool. And I meant to ask, Zelen, what is your hit point total right now?
You're Zelen.
I know. I was thinking 84.
86.
Okay. Yeah. And,
108.
wow. Yeah. So so Boris, what's up with? What
I took
changes
my
here?
third level in Warlock, which, if I'm not mistaken, upped my packed magic spell slots to 2nd level. So now I have 2nd level smites that recuperate every hour.
Very cool.
Which, yes. Then the other major thing is the packed boon, and I went with Pact of the Chain. So as soon as I get 10 minutes to myself, I'm going to do a ritual version of Find Familiar and get a familiar. We had been talking about this just like for planning purposes and developed a good guy imp because of all the options that were available. Imps were by far and away the best. So I'll be calling the Madrigal Usud.
Yeah, that is very cool. Do you want to say anything about putting that on a website to look at, or are you just going to keep that closer to yourself
No.
for the time being? Okay, yeah. So that is just
No.
That's an R thing. Maybe sometime,
I'm
day,
drafting
week,
stuff to
month in the
publish,
future.
but
Not now.
shush.
Yeah.
What does it take the shape of, or is that?
So it's like a small sphinx-ish thing.
Okay.
A little closer to human than lion, but it can shape change into a cat, a hawk, or a spider.
Nice. There you go.
Yeah, very cool. And
Poisonous sting, invisibility. Oh yeah, the big thing. As long as so yeah, I get a number of benefits due to magic spirit friend, and I can sense what it senses as long as it's within a mile of me. So it's, as far as I understand that, it's like how you can trade your senses with your familiar, but
Yeah.
I still have my senses and my range is way bigger.
Ooh. Oh, that's cool.
And as long as it's within 10 feet of me, I gain the benefit of his magic resistance trait, which is advantage on saves versus spells and magical effects.
Nice.
So I continue to be a colossal pain in the butt to actually damage in combat.
Okay. Challenge accepted. We'll see what we can do.
You are welcome to continue to
He's
fail.
waiting to throw a lich at us, but he realizes that's both magical and undead, which makes
Right.
it horrible for.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to
Really?
fight.
Yeah. So yeah, that'd be the best thing for you to fight. So
I've been waiting to finally use my full Holy Avenger powers, because that's what basically the hammer is,
right.
which is an additional 2d10 radiant versus undead and fiends.
Nice.
So please,
Yeah.
Lich,
Do it.
now.
Do it.
I dare you.
I bet that Shatask is outside the door right now going, they have the weirdest conversations when they're by themselves.
So as you guys are ungearing, getting yourself, just back to your normal selves again, cleaning up, I would suppose, getting a bite to eat, and then
Summoning my familiar.
yeah. So let's go into that in just a little bit.
All he needs is 10 minutes alone. I do not leave him alone. I just stay with him.
Okay? You are welcome to watch the grafting ritual.
So
Ew.
it is very quickly after you guys settle yourselves in, and I would think, Boris, if what you were saying that you're looking to do this,
Yeah, my primary is that calling ritual.
yeah, that ritual, but that there is kind of a ping in your heads, and that is Shatask to get your attention, and then speaks and says, "I request entrance,"
Come in.
Yeah.
and opens the door almost immediately. She was just
I disable all the traps that we have.
right outside, and presents you with a piece of the chitin, like a chunk of it, and on it there's a number of very esoteric looking marks and scribbles, and it's being presented forward, but it's not presented to any one of you in particular. But it does seem as though she's waiting for someone to step forward and take this out of her hand.
Okay, I'll take it.
Unless I'm in the middle of, I think, we all
I
read
read
simultaneously.
the language the best. I'll grab it.
Wrong.
What?
He can read any language.
You can
Oh,
speak
that's
the
right.
language.
That's
I can
right.
actually read it.
You suck. So
All right, so are you taking it?
Evidently, yes.
Yeah.
he just convinced us to let him take it.
That when you take this and it nods and then leaves the space again, and again make that as a an insight on Shatask being in here.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
22.
Much better. Yeah.
I'm preoccupied with this calamitous
18.
message.
Yeah. So
3.
Jacob most definitely, and and us with that make too, and Zelen. You get the idea that Shatask wasn't uncomfortable being in here, but it does seem as though there's something about this space that maybe who used to dwell here, or that it was used by different hell beings for such a long time, that she doesn't really want to hang out with you guys in this space. It's less that she's just allowing you to have your personal space, but she doesn't even like being in here.
Well, there goes my plans for a sleepover.
Like, note to self: do not invite Shatask to my birthday party.
And then Boris, as you like glance over this thing, you say that this has been signed by each one of the council members, and it is a formal invitation to a presentation ceremony to have the carapace, that Merjak's carapace will be presented to the Kreen'Ochrogin's matriarch, which is a being you've yet not seen or has rarely even been mentioned. That there is this pinnacle being, and you're invited to that space.
They do things so strangely
that's
here.
interesting.
Like an actual invitation. Like, I just thought it was so bizarre. Like,
You think they could have just emailed us?
oh yeah, right, yeah. It's, like, with all the the efficiency and things like that, it's just so bizarre that they still go to the trouble of, like, rather than just sending a messenger just to give us words, it's
Yeah,
like,
but-
here's an actual physical thing.
Maybe that's indicating that how like important or unusual.
Like, do we
or
get the sense that we need to bring this
formal.
with us to even be able to get into
I think we're being invited
Yeah,
to go
that-
see the queen,
that
quite
makes-
literally.
That makes an awful lot of sense. It probably has
Yeah,
some
it's
kind
the
of
Aunt Matriarch. It is literally
the queen, right?
that you probably need it. It probably has all sorts of, if each one of them is signed it, they probably signed it themselves. It has their own scent on it. It has total approval. That their little anti-butts are on the line, and that, but it gives you the proper scent to be allowed into the
Would
place.
it be their butts or would it be their anti-butts? What is an anti-butt?
Let us know
I
down in the
would presume.
comments.
I gotta get this bad smell off me before I.
Oh yeah, we've been sitting here for a minute.
You walk in and get murdered.
Does she still smell like the enemy?
Our hero, you picked it up and carried it out of there.
Well,
death.
I assumed we had some kind of bathing
Yeah,
faculty
like I
in
said,
this
you guys get
enormous
cleaned up
apartment.
in here,
Yeah.
right? So we'll assume that.
Have I completed this?
We'll
the
start that
calling
in,
ritual?
in just a moment. You haven't started it yet.
Okay.
But that you can also imagine that this invitation brick will probably put into a wall at some point. It's one of those things that they record these things and they use it as its own
Well, if
honor
it's a brick,
tally
it could
Right.
go
in
through
a
a window
room.
too.
Yeah, so that there is a reason for that kind of physical substance thing. But it is just a couple of hours from right now, so you guys have some time to do some other things if you want to. So she leaves immediately. You guys have said that. You set the brick down to hold the door closed, and Boris.
I do my find familiar ritual.
Yes, and just for I guess efficiency, it works.
I was gonna say, I don't think it has a failure chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There isn't a failure chance, or I don't know why you're grabbing dice for things.
I'm not. I'm
that
just.
that
I just
hasn't
like
been
to
a thing
rearrange.
since advanced.
So, it would just appear there. Like it wouldn't.
Pretty much.
Wouldn't even be like it's almost like a summoning. It's not like it's something that just comes flying in the window. It's right there, adjacent to you.
It's a celestial spirit that appears.
Right.
Does it have a name?
Usud.
Okay.
Masud. And it immediately comes over and
USUD, if you're interested.
lands
You were writing something down immediately crossed through it. She started with double O's.
just so you can pronounce it.
Usud.
That
I like Jazz better. It's easier to say.
it alights on your arm, up onto your shoulder, and I guess in a mental state, it's trying to get to know you.
Yeah, we're probably communicating telepathically,
I would think so.
which neat. Now we have our own telepathic conduit, so we can just brain at things instead of going through Shatask.
Oh, that's nice.
And
So,
I wonder if Shatask can pick up on that frequency. Can hear what you're saying to your
that's
thing.
interesting.
thing.
It's a very
Usud.
different kind of magic, from what I understand.
Right.
Of theirs.
I'll have to read the rules and just see what I think about how that would work, even when that needs to come up.
Yeah, I think I will direct as a general purpose, though, that Usud would stay invisible.
Okay.
Oh yeah, they can do that.
Yeah, because I'd rather not just what kind of weird thing is that on your shoulder? I'm gonna squish it.
Well, with how scent based
I-
this entire colony is, I wonder if that would really even do much.
Yeah, I smell like weird hell stuff already. So.
True.
Yeah, and when it comes to them noticing things that are hidden and invisible, we have seen that as being kind of a weakness in them. They're not really good at that, unless they had a spell up right at that moment. So that could work. All right, so then a couple hours pass by. So it's getting used to this new presence for you, Boris. Zelen, you're all cleaned up.
I'm studying the stuff too.
And yeah, spending that
I'm
time reading.
relaxing.
Yeah, so it is like a month worth of time, I believe, for the reading to study to get that stuff from Illicit's books. And then it's around the right time, and again, it's Shatask summoning you, and then bringing you, forward into the main audience chamber for the council, and then there is a stairway in that council that wasn't there before. And there's enough material around it, you think they've just opened it up, as though it wasn't even a place that, you could have just like, oh, if I knew where the secret latch was and the catch was, I could have opened this and gone down to the space. You think they recreate it whenever they need to. And then you're descending what's initially stairs, more like a ladder, and then it's a ramp-wise, and it's spiraling down.
So who's with
this
us?
tower.
Just all the council?
The entire council.
Shatask?
Well, they're actually, so right now with you is Shatask and Iskanthovit. The council isn't there, but when you got to this space, there were a number of guards, in essence, making its own little gallery for you to walk between. And then when you got to this area to walk down, it's just you, along with Iskanthovit and Shatask, walking down. And then once you're down this, it spirals twice and then opens into a wide area. The smell is different almost immediately. You can tell this is the living space of a very large something. It's been down here for a long time, and it's contained in this area. It looks like it's natural stone as well as chitin that have been filled in places. It seems fairly austere. And as you proceed forward, you're into a large, call it cavernous looking room, but it is actually like a made room, a formed room. And you can see at the far end of this is this queen being. And it's an awful lot like one of the Nuriaks, but the abdomen of this thing is massive. It is a huge thing. And she herself seems like she's just a little dot of recognition on like a swollen tick. That the appearance of her seems to be such a large thing.
Okay, you've been successfully very gross with that.
And you can see that once you get to the threshold of this, that all of the Nuriak are on all sixes. None of them are walking on like just that last two or even like four sets of legs, that they all go to what looks very much like a drone's way of walking around. You would associate with the drones the most. And as you get to that point, it's Shatask is in your own head that says, you must crawl to proceed. You must go, walk on all.
I reorient the structure of my pelvis to facilitate.
Yeah, right. I feel like it almost look more threatening if we start crawling on all fours toward it.
I guess it'd be creepy for all of you, but that's how it works down here. And
I do wonder, just interactions of rank. I know it's not recognized down here in the caverns of weird, that she's a ruler in a city and I'm a baron.
Right.
So how would that interplay go?
Yeah, that's interesting.
So they might pick up on me wondering that as I do, I don't want to, but I will.
You hear that voice.
Here's how it plays. They could kill you.
Doubt.
He could.
They would try to
He
kill you.
could fight back hard. Now,
They'd get me eventually, but I'd get a lot of their leadership.
but there are also a lot of drones in here. And you would notice, actually, go ahead and make that as a roll, either as an insight. But for you, Jacob, you could roll that as a survival. That the drones in here.
Nice.
I'm rolling for crap.
Okay, so Zell's like
I'm
looking at all
not.
the just the number of beings that are
15.
down here. And what'd you get?
31.
Wow. That these drones are different.
Almost like you're playing to a skill set.
Yeah, right?
These drones are different. They're slightly larger than the typical drones. The carapaces seem like they're like instead like more like an amber color, and almost seem a little translucent, where the rest are all like a black. It's like they're down here. They work in a different space. They seem stronger, and whatever it is about them, you're getting something that seems maybe they're less on autopilot and directed, and maybe slightly more autonomous. Whatever tasks they're doing here, and there are larvae being moved about. There's it's a like a breeding chamber. It's a place to store these things, and there are these larvae stacked around the walls like cordwood. And there's some kind of a process to set them into chitin within the wall spaces, and tunnels, things moving in and out. The queen itself seems like it's barely even aware of you or even notices you, but it's it's such a large presence, you can't help but be aware of the thing. And you are brought to like about a third ring. It's the lines are a little indistinct of lines of a Nuriak that are circled around her, and the very front one is most definitely the council chamber itself. And then ones that seem to be like other sages, they're more impressive spellcasters, and then it's a tier of more sisters, further sisters. There's guards and shock troops down here too, so it's quite the arrangement to it. And for you inside your head, most of it is silent, or it's almost done like in sense. But this is being brought, the actual carapace being brought forward by a single sage, and then once it comes within that last circle, it's touched by all of the council, and then it is brought up to the queen, who merely like leans her bulk forward, is bringing her what would be like her face to it. Those, gosh, what are they called again, Victor? Those leg-like things that come out of a thing's...
Calicera.
A calicera, right. It's calicera, and it touches the calicera to it, and then it actually does what seems to be an honor tally, a new one, overlapping the other ones, that it's brought back into them. And you can feel that they're almost like stifling a kind of a joy that this thing is here again. And with that honor tally being placed by the queen again, it leans its bulk back. And then the whole area starts to clear, like from the front circle and moving back and away, and the circles are spreading out. It's very brief. There's like nothing said in the conventional sense, but the queen making that touch to it seems to have been the important part. And now they're retreating back out almost in reverse order.
I wonder if she somehow like put her scent on it.
I would assume.
So now it's like, now it belongs to
Ours,
them again.
So
Yeah.
help me out with like the sizing here too, because like you just said massive, but like I was thinking like 3-story building. But how big is this
Queen or
queen? Yeah.
It would have been like almost like a shock troop size, like physical being with an abdomen that would be a little bit like a medium-sized moving van.
Okay. So still large.
Yeah.
Not,
Yeah, but
the
not
public library downtown.
Not colossal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of shock troops, just kind of making a quick assessment between the carapace and the shock troops, how big was Murgic?
He would have been somewhere about halfway between a soldier and a shock troop.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah. So
That
again,
is interesting.
not off the charts for what they're capable of, but he would have been a very, very big soldier spellcaster. Yeah.
I need one of those like sizing charts that they use like in the vet's office for like the cats from like thin to oh lord he coming, just so I can just get a better idea of like the size of these troops, because you guys seem like you understood like the soldier versus shock troop or whatever.
What's interesting
Soldiers
to me,
soldiers are man-sized.
Yeah.
Drones are man-sized, but they walk on all their
sixes.
limbs.
Yeah, and then
Shock troops are ogre-sized.
ogre size.
So they're
Okay.
like 8 feet tall.
Gotcha. Okay.
what's interesting to me is I would have assumed this thing was massive. That
yeah,
it was so much. It would be
The size of
larger
a small
than the.
moving van is still pretty massive.
No, not the queen.
Oh.
The Muriac.
Murjax.
Murjax. That he would have been the size of like the largest shock troop.
Okay.
But he wasn't. So there must have been something else about him that allowed him
It
to
does
become
seem
so powerful.
to be that, well, I think that size was a major factor, that soldiers tend to about like, what, 6 foot, 200 pounds?
Yeah, something like that.
Whereas the shock troops are 8 foot and like, 400-ish pounds,
Yeah, 450, something like that.
but are dumb comparatively.
Yeah.
That it had a larger size and, by things that shed exoskeletons,
Yeah.
was then the significantly older and had that intelligence.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
I think its size was
7 feet tall, 300 pounds.
right
Yeah.
significant by soldiers'
Really
reckoning
smart.
because it retained the intelligence and
Yeah.
wasn't just bred to be big and dumb like the shock troops.
And able to do, right. And then, so you guys actually leave before those more important circles that are within there. And again, you're being guided and directed by Shatask. When you come out, you're not invited to wait in the main council chamber, but you are directed to head just back down to your own area to hang out in there.
It was interesting that we were acknowledged at all.
It's a
Yeah.
significant amount of pomp and circumstance for such a small or short ceremony. So there's got to
Yeah,
be a
she
lot more
might-
significance to that.
She might not have the energy to be able to do much more than what she did. I wonder if she
Or-
recognized we were in the space at all.
I suspect they seem to be magocracy, or magocratic rather, so their leader would be the most powerful spellcaster. Just kind of by the progression with that. So I suspect she was aware. What I suspect is that this was not the actual formal receiving of the thing. That once they make it known to the city that we're the ones who have this, there will be actually a massive and grand presentation. This was just a proof from the council to the matriarch that the plan is going apace.
Mm.
Yeah, an ownership thing would make sense too.
Yeah.
Possession taken.
Yeah.
So when you guys get back to your, Shataska implies to you that once you get back to your own quarters, that you have time to yourself, some days, and then they'll be determining the next task for you. So anything else you guys wanted to do in that time beyond reading and studying, anything else about your madrigal that that would be anything you want to do, share?
Yeah, for me, it's studying. The other thing that I want to make a note of, not in a way that could be overheard by Shatask, is where I feel like that queen was in relation to the city. Because if things went really sideways for us, if we threatened her, that could be a good thing for us to know how we could get to her. So I'd like to just kind of try to understand where she is in relation to where we are.
I would think for what all of you guys have done to this point, that's going to be very easy for both Jacob and Boris to figure that with their combined skill sets. So why don't one of you roll with advantage, the other one giving support to it, and it's either a survival or it's going to be a
siegecraft.
My siegecraft was a +10.
I'm a +12 with survival.
Yeah, go ahead.
And maybe this is something that we do in the space, in the rope trick space, so that Shatask can't overhear it.
24.
Yeah, so you are really confident that central tower, and again, the way the tower is over up at the base, if you're out to the 6, the most outer ring of that tower, kind of projecting it through where it overlaps with other towers, you think that that's almost exactly where she is beneath that space.
Okay.
That you guys, talking about it, you walked this distance, that was only like, 30 feet to right there, and then it turned again. Yeah, you feel like you could locate that spot quite easily.
Because I bet they don't move her very much. And
No.
yeah, and that could be good for us to know.
Yeah, lock that away or
All right, so
hold on to that.
So it's during that time that you guys are just studying, and again, I love the idea of you getting to know your madrigal.
Well, honestly, I'm probably thrilled for the first time since my expedition south has started, that I've actually got somebody I could have like a debate on, theology with.
Religion and culture.
For
Yeah.
the
You just haven't asked me.
Tell us about religion, farm
He's
boy.
like, you know how many times I've told you about religion?
But you hear a scratching coming from the door, and it's noticeable. Like if there was like a dog out there, pawing at the door on the outside.
That's weird.
Do we hear a bark?
Do we have
No-
a peephole or
no
a window
bark.
to look out?
I'll open the door.
All right, so when you do, there's a drone right there, and on all 6s, it comes in, and it turns to the left, to the right, raises up just a little bit, and you can tell after just a moment or two that in its mouth, it's holding what seems to be a piece of chitin, maybe very thin, kind of wobbles a little bit as it moves up and down, and within just moments that no one has taken it from it, it just drops it on the floor and does an about face and is
Before it goes, remember how when we were initiated, we were told we were given authority over the drones, but we had no real way to exercise that?
right.
Because I can communicate telepathically with Usud, and Usud can communicate telepathically with other things, I'm wondering if
Yeah,
I can
try
actually
it.
exert that
Right.
authority. So, telepathically through essentially Usud as a relay, I tell the drone to go over to the far end of the room.
And that's how it's written in the description, like from, was it the imp you just took it from? Or?
Imps, which I copied and turned into madrigals, are telepathic,
Right.
and I can communicate telepathically with my familiar.
Okay, that is really cool. Let me just think about that. All right, so what do you actually tell
Go over to the far side of the room.
Masud? So, and like there's a kind of like a click of time period, and the drone kind of wheels itself around and is looking in the direction of you, and then turns back and goes over to the wall as directed.
I use the mask and I click and I say, go back and stand by the door.
Let's see,
Does it work
That
physically?
was a skill set. Did I
Yeah.
give you a skill on that
You
one?
did not. actually.
It's a language that he's not proficient in.
Right.
So-
So, make an intelligence roll.
See how that works. Oh, that was almost better. Intelligence, just straight up intelligence. 8.
Because you're not proficient.
You're not proficient
Yeah.
with it
You're
yet.
not proficient in intelligence?
No,
Well, he's not proficient in speaking.
in the
No,
skill,
but-
in the skill yet, yeah. So actually, we're going to call that a 9 for the moment. And,
Sure.
But that even with that 9 roll, it turns moves, and it's moving as though it's not quite sure it got that, but it seems as though, Jacob, it's trying to respond.
Yeah.
As
Go
though
over
that-
to the.
So it's like moving as though it's trying to go over what the thing is, much what the thing is.
It's like I need to just whenever I'm talking, just try and keep it as simple as possible. It's like stand at door.
Yeah.
And but you are getting the idea that you could potentially use, Ellis's stuff and communicate with
Nice.
it directly
That's
that way
interesting.
too. Yeah.
Go about your duties.
And again, it just wheels itself around and
Mike
is
like,
right
"Haha,"
back,
he said duties.
right back out, right back out the
No
door.
wonder you failed an intelligence check.
And the drone just chuckles to himself as he walks
I
out.
pick up the piece of chitin that it
Oh yeah,
dropped.
there was a purpose behind all of this.
So, and I'm guessing, Zelen, you close the door once the thing goes back out again, right? So, as you're looking at this, Boris, you're of course, it's written, you're reading
Yeah.
it, it's in their kind of,
Weird quasi script.
right. That this is someone named. It's written by and it's from someone named Thug of Kreen'Ochrogin. Kreen'Ochrogin, sorry. And this Thug seems to be a merchant of maybe kind of modest means and abilities.
Okay.
Did you open my mail?
That
Well, since you can't read your mail,
This is true.
he had said he's heard of your interest in occult artifacts.
I did open your mail.
You did open my mail.
In occult artifacts.
Now it's a matter of what he would consider an occult something, but
Right.
of occult artifacts.
The easiest would be pertaining to hell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he is saying that he's going to be receiving a shipment and doesn't go into where it's coming from. And it gives you like a timetable that you would translate into saying, like a week and a half, like 11 days or something like that, 10, 11, 12 days, and is willing to give you first choice of the items that come in this shipment.
Yes.
I would love that, but a shipment
Interesting.
means that somebody's traveling back
Yeah.
and forth.
And that was my main thing when I was asking them about where they got the curios from.
Exactly.
So we know that there's this guarantees
some
this.
kind of
There is-
There's some
trade
kind
with
of trade.
something, yeah.
And something else about it too, that Boris, as you're reading this thing, even though you're reading it for the exact words and you're getting the exact words, you're getting the idea, and I'm sure you're just reading this out loud too, and
Yeah,
you're
sure,
translating it, that there's a subtext to this that isn't clear. You're looking at how the syntax is put together. And as he's saying it out loud, everybody go ahead and make an insight check.
Natural 20
Nice.
for a 22.
Excellent. And-
Unnatural 23.
16.
Ow.
uh,
Is that what that feels like?
It feels pretty bad, right? It feels bad, man.
everyone gets this idea that as Boris is reading it, you look up Boris and there's like, you get the idea that this isn't just a merchant. You think this might be someone from this cult that's like a poisonous abomination, this cult of decadence in their society that believes it's okay to waste resources or use resources for other things, that it might be someone of them reaching out to all of you.
That's
Ah.
interesting.
Well, I did kind of signal them all when I expended some of my resource, quote unquote, to heal an enemy combatant.
Right. Yeah. And like
Oh,
and a
that's
shockwave.
very true.
A shock went through it. Remember,
Yeah.
there was this mental things, which means spellcasters were like,
Note, yeah,
yes.
note David. We might want to put that in the last time for this episode.
Okay.
And then, yeah, the other thing, though, that you use some power to make them tell us the truth.
Yeah, and then
When
we
that-
killed that one.
And then we killed that once. Yeah. So I wonder, that's interesting.
Well, now I'm wondering, like, with my very broken ability of reading the actual like text of it, with just what I've done with the
Can he
with
read
the
it?
book, can I read the actual language, or is it all just like sounds?
It's all sound.
Dang it, because I'm wondering it would be fantastic if this would somehow stack with like Thieves' Cant, if they were doing some sort of hidden messages and being able to read exactly what it was in the mentioning, but I can't read.
Right.
So my name's Jared. I'm 19 and I never learned how to read. I'm curious though, because I really we were talking about it earlier, kind of as a joke. Is this their kind of version of Steel Cloud, except not exactly like
Well, it's subversive elements maneuvering the society to their own ambitions.
yeah.
Well,
So
that
yes,
just sounds
it's
like
their element of
us.
Steel Cloud.
Yeah.
No, we're terrorists.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
we are actively committing acts of destruction for a political purpose.
Yeah, that is, yeah.
And effectively.
Yeah, we're really
Yeah.
good at it.
You're really good at it. And it seems to be something, as the liberators of this whole region of Jordan, you guys are getting really good at this stuff.
Well, one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter.
So
Right.
does it have any information on this invitation as far as where to meet? Where is
Right,
this
yeah.
I think it's
happen?
less an invitation, more just
a-
kind of a message that this guy will be getting this stuff.
And it does have a note at the bottom of Boris that's send a reply if necessary.
Yeah, I will telepathically
Oh,
call
wow.
a
Drone?
I was thinking actually a soldier, so that way I can better communicate the message I want written, and then he can hand it
and
off to a
it'd
drone.
be good to try, too, with the soldiers.
Yeah, it's worth a shot.
So again, through the
Yeah,
grapevine of
Usud.
that is so cool. So are you intentionally going to be reaching for Iskra Thovit, whom you know, or just trying to get some other soldier?
Nearest.
Okay, yeah, and within moments, less than a minute, from around a corner in the hallway, a soldier does approach and comes up to the door, and it's more of almost like a traditional knock, and less of just a scratching on the door. But that still seems like an alien thing to do as well. You let him in,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like in its mind communicating, like just expressing it, and then
Yeah.
it comes through you secondhand.
Yeah.
That he's saying, I'm here at a sister's summons, but it's strange.
Yeah, I think strange is just kind of whatever anything we do.
Right, yeah.
Deal with it.
The strange ones.
I outrank you.
Well, and he probably really doesn't want to come inside if Shatask doesn't want to come
right,
inside,
yeah.
and she's coming used to us.
And he is just at the threshold. He's not actually come
Yeah.
inside.
I instruct him to etch a message just like in the other side of this piece of chitin, I guess.
Yeah, he does as you dictate.
Expressing our interest in Thug of Bikkurkareg's,
Yeah, Bigger
collection.
Karig, right.
that we will locate him in, 11 days, you said?
Yeah, about that.
In 11 days' time.
And then he takes it, and where should I deliver this is what comes through to you.
I guess in the marketplace?
Yeah.
you could ask him if he knows the merchant.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're the
Give it to a
table-
drone, have the drone locate Thug of Bikkurkareg.
It's like, or
Because that of sounds like a clan thing,
Yeah.
so that should narrow down the search
is
reasonably.
is this, does it sound like the exact guy that I bought the original Curiosity from, like in the marketplace? Or
It could be.
Could I
wouldn't know that.
roll any sort of a thing to see if I remember that guy's name, if I even got it?
That's an interesting point. Let's go ahead and say yes. Go ahead and roll that as a.
So,
Still not proficient in intelligence.
Yeah,
are you?
right.
not at all. But I'll do my best at trying not to butcher the name if I even do remember anything with a 4, but then also just giving kind of an idea, a description of where they were located in the marketplace, and just say,
I have
table
a
B12.
16 on an insight to recall that name if it was spoken. I know I wasn't in the
Yeah.
negotiations such as they were.
You remember enough that as you guys were being told from Shatask, that in the market area, nominally speaking, along that long promenade, wares that are being sold are generally right in front of the general area of like occupation of a clan house.
Yeah.
So
Everybody lives upstairs to their
right.
store.
So Bikkurkareg is a known like stretch of the grand market. So to find Thug in that really narrows it down and wouldn't be that difficult.
Oh,
for
yeah.
them.
So
that'd be a no. It's
our
almost
drone would hand it off to their drone, who'd hand it off to the guy.
it's almost like
Yeah.
an address, but not exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good
All right,
enough.
So yeah, that is sent back off, and he goes. So yeah, successfully
Nice.
recommunicating stuff and sending
Nice.
stuff out.
I
That's
will-
very
because
cool.
you are
Keep that in
You
mind.
are allowed to. Yeah, very
We're
cool.
playing a very long distance game of telephone.
Right.
Yeah, it's called sending a letter.
Yeah. Through dictation.
All right. So then the next few
Yeah, it's called
days,
sending a letter when you have money.
do any of you like move around the city at all? Like for the next few days, as you're going out, or do you just stay in your own room, or do you explore the city at all? Walk around.
I work as
Yeah.
hard as I can to
Be a
become
known
proficient in
visual
intelligence.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely move around a little bit just because I can't imagine I want to sit inside this place all the time.
Well, and you're probably just deeply displeased with outside being basically inside anyway.
Exactly.
Do we
Exactly.
ever go outside?
Honey, what would Shatask do if we all split up?
have to organize parties to protect each one of you.
Yeah. And I'll need a
Laugh as we
break.
get psychically overwhelmed.
Studying the Arcana, but I'll need a break from it every
All right.
so often.
So at least just to be like a visual thing around the city.
Yeah, we probably would all just kind of wander periodically. I think staying as a bunch would be a good call.
And
Yeah, I do too, because I think it's good for them to see us all three together. You know what I mean? We might.
All of us being together discourages somebody doing something stupid.
Yeah. But I do think it'd be interesting just to be out there and see what's around and that kind of stuff.
well, and that what you get used to fairly quickly is that when you guys are out, you're pretty much psychically blocked off from everyone and everyone from you.
Yeah.
That you're obviously different. Everyone gets that. Although, like in a way, the weirdest looking one, the most unusual one, really is Boris, because he looks like he's kind of an Anuriak, but not, and that really throws them. So, after a few days, and you are more like exactly a known quantity, but you're seen enough in the marketplace, in the market
familiar
areas,
oddity,
right? That it's not quite the same outcry as what it was. But you also start having to play by a certain set of rules, and that is when you want to interact with someone, that you really have to go through Shatask for Shatask to say, what's that one thinking, or that one's looking in our direction. What's it thinking? And you have to do this in between, go between. You might be able to work out something else with your Madrigal that could make an end run around that. And I would imagine, Jacob, you're practicing.
Yeah, I do my best to get
too.
better than absolutely garbage at this communication thing.
Yeah, and that's a real novelty for them, that you're trying to learn their own spoken language, because that's really strange. But you are starting to pick up things, and you're hearing nuances even when soldiers talk to each other. So you're getting better at that. But after a few days, you are called, summoned back to the council chamber, the main council chamber. And it's not like, soon or in a day. It's right now. They want you to report to the main council chamber.
Okay.
We go.
Yeah.
All right. So,
And off we go.
and once you get there, again, you're in the presence of all of them. They don't even mention your successes that you've had, but they go right to, there is an attack reported northwest of Jatakdan, and it is one of our enemies. Our own satellite station reported being under attack, and this incursion must be pushed back. And we need you to go and find out what's happening and potentially relieve the people that are there, the Anuriak that are there, but then also to push back the intruders.
Is this related to our earlier mission? Is this attack in response to our earlier success?
No, this is not from Anuriak. This is from other intruders.
What other intruders?
They are Umber Hulk.
Huh.
No, we fought them before, haven't we?
No, we
used
hired them.
We used them.
They're how we pulled down Razia
this,
Tower.
these, yeah.
I wonder if they're our friends.
Well, we at least know how to talk to them.
Yeah, by talking to the people that talk to them.
Oh, yeah, but I bet they're not wearing the headdresses, so we might have to be worrying about, oh, no, sorry, you guys have stupid magical stuff. I will have to worry about whatever controlling thing they have with that eyeball.
That it would seem as though that for some reason they believe this is a time to attack the Anuriak. That there is talk that among some of our sages and even adepts, that it might be because you are here, that something in you has changed. You are the biggest change that's happened in Jatakdan, and so they're looking at you to have been the cause somehow. But we can find no correlation to make that a truth, or for that to make any substantiality of that rumor. But be aware of that. There are those that think that you have brought this upon us. But we want you to head out in that direction a few days from here, and to find out what is the problem with that place.
I'm waiting for us to get over there, and we're going to find Arena Radabal herself, and she's leading this charge of all these Umber Hulks to try
She's coming to rescue
She's
her
coming to
boy.
rescue us.
Not us. She's coming to rescue you.
Oh, she's
That dipshit noble who keeps flirting with her.
she's got the, oh, man. And who was the other one? Who was the,
Oh, no, yeah, no.
I know she was the one that was with the bears.
Irina
She was
Radabal was the
yeah,
in
she's the one who kept on
contest.
winning for no reason, yeah.
Inda Nur was the one you were flirting with.
Inda, yeah. Which, I don't actually have that name on my sheet. Irina
Good
Radabal
old
I have written
Inda.
down.
So as they say Umber Hulks, and you guys are like, oh, yeah, we know Umber Hulks from before, everyone go ahead and make, I guess, again, an insight makes the most sense.
Dang it. You want to pick a skill we're good at? 21.
17.
Nice. Yeah, right.
That's awesome.
So
I've noticed a
roll
consistent
big.
thing. When I have a low modifier, if I complain about it, I roll high.
So 21, 17, and
13.
okay. So
So listeners, if you want me to stop complaining, buy me loaded dice.
So Zelen and Boris, you're both having a thought about it, and Jacob might have been back of your head all the time. You do think about how those Umber Hulks were kind of a carapaced, insectoid kind of,
Weird magic shenanigan monster.
Yeah, but they were above ground livers because they kind of had to be coaxed below ground, didn't they?
No, exactly the
Oh,
opposite.
yeah, no, they dug really well. They're the ones
That-
that took down the tower.
Yeah, I knew
they were part of the circus as circus oddities. They're like, oh, look at these things. Oh, they're big and they're strong and they're dragging our stuff, but they're also really smart. And they're from, weird place underground.
Yeah, but that'd be the idea, that it would seem like you're just noticing differences in the physiology to the Anuriac as you're looking at one and going, Umber Hulk. Oh, yeah, Umber Hulk. Yeah, they're kind of a circus freak. Oh, wait, they would survive down here too. And suddenly some of those similarities in, physiology seem a little more apparent as you're thinking about it right then. But they go on to say to you that there's evidence of that something about what the Umber Hulks are doing, something in how they attacked. And they turn to you, Boris, and they say, it is somehow similar to like what you did when you battled that shock troop, that there is a hurt, there is a pressure, like they're searching for the right word. There is a
mark?
damage.
A heat?
That there is.
I think he's not. It's not talking about fire. I think it might be talking about the radiant damage. That they're talking about, the flashes of light when I'd strike with the hammer that I don't think they have an analog to in their society.
That there is something you bring from hell, that it did something. It leaves a residue, and that residue has been, by the description of it, it seems similar to what's happening at our satellite.
And do you think
camp.
it's that residue? You think that's why people think that we've attracted this?
That is a possibility, but it could be something again from the above place.
I think the connection is that, surfacers are demonstrating that capacity, and nothing I've seen of them, or seems to be implied of them, does radiant damage. Like, it's not like they're casting moonbeams or something. So just kind of by the quick connections there, it sounds like then a surfacer is interacting with the Umber Hulks, or the Umber Hulks have gained some kind of power source.
Yeah, and that would be from what you guys knew about interacting with the Umber Hulks. There was nothing when you guys were like, "Hey, what powers do they have we can use to, better our options?" When
They can dig.
and
Diggy
anything
hole.
radiant damage did not come up in anything of that. But they say, and maybe more sense now, like in earnest, we want you to not only find out what's happened to our satellite village, that encampment, but also what is it that they're doing? What do the Umber Hulk have? Because that could be a direct and terrible threat to not just Gagindrog, but to everyone here.
Is that base a Kreen'Ochrogin base or a Chitakdan base?
It is a Chitakdan city. It is a place of unity and protection that is. It has soldiers and drones that rotate into it and through it. So all the clans are invested in maintaining
Like
the
an international
security
space station.
of those borders.
Kind of.
Well-
I think more just kind of a resource satellite.
Right.
And you get the idea. There's probably a number of those that are all around. Forming kind of a ball around the place where
that's
where
interesting.
Chitakdan the city is.
Well, it makes sense.
Is
that-
it up?
Yeah.
So
knows?
with that one, it comes back that you do get the idea that it is at a slightly higher elevation. It's closer to hell, and but not by great degrees. So they want you to go to that place and find out, in essence, if Boris is right, who is doing that kind of damage, who has the capacity to have that skill set.
When do we leave?
You leave now.
Thanks for listening. What do you think we could be hunting? Send us your fan theories on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Empire's Edge. The best one wins a prize. What? What do you mean it's not in the budget? Oh. The best one wins the whatever prize you feel like buying yourself. Send money to the prize budget at subscribestar.com/the-empires-edge.